Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Options Mentor. And I hope you're having a wonderful holiday period here. The market's been a little bit strange, but hopefully you're still having a good time there with family and friends. But since it is the end of the year, there's something I wanted to do. Of course, I'm going to show a trade idea for the week here in a bit. But before that, I wanted to talk about your chance here to maybe change up things, to take some stock of what you've been doing and having a plan for the year going forward. I've just got a few bullet points I want to go over that I think could help all traders uh, enhance their trading and profitability. So let's take a look at that here. I'm just going to bring up just a document just to show that to you and talk about it. And you know what? The number one thing is, seems real simple, have a plan. There's so many people that don't have one. They'll say, why are you trading this size? I don't know. Why are you trading this strategy? I don't know. I mean, what are your goals? I don't know. It's amazing. Many people are missing some or all of those components of a plan. So the first thing you need to do is acquaint yourself with how much capital do I want to utilize? What's my knowledge base? Am I capable of utilizing whatever amount you decide to use? How many trades do I want to have on at a time? What are my monthly goals? Am I trying to make 10% a month, 5% a month, 10% a year, whatever it may be? You need to have a goal and you need to keep track of that. That's what I'm talking about here with keeping score. So we need to have a plan and then we need to keep score. I'm sure you've heard me say it before. So many traders, you could ask them in the middle of the month, are you up or down for the month? And they're not even sure. They'll say, oh, I think I'm up or I think I'm down. But you should know where you're at all times in trading. Otherwise, you've lost your focus. Why are you trading in the first place if you're not here to make money and keep track of that? Otherwise, it seems like you're just trading, right? And you're not really doing this like a business. And this type of trading does its best whenever it's treated like a business, having a plan, following the plan, keeping track of where you're at. And of course, another component of that is not over trading. You can't have say a $5,000 account and have $5,000 in the market all the time. You always need some money in the background for any kind of adjustments or repairs you need, or even catastrophes. So you don't ever want to do that. And not only that, overtrading often comes from greed or maybe even anger, like you lost, so I'm going to trade even bigger. Teach me to lose a calendar of 10 lots, I'll do 30, that type of thing. Well, that is not a great way to trade. You don't want to trade angry. You don't want to overtrade just because you're greedy. Or I've had students say to me before, "Well, Mark, I need to make this." Well, just because you need to doesn't mean the market's going to cooperate, right? They might say, "Oh, I got 10 grand and I need to make $1,000 a month." Well, that's fine as a goal, but you can't force that upon the market. You'll have to work at it and you have to keep track of where you're at. And part of that also is setting milestones. Where do I want to be? How much money's in my account now? Where do I want to be? Probably milestones would be best, maybe quarterly. Where do I want to be by March 31st? Where do I want to be by June 30th? That type of thing. And keeping milestones, you could even do a monthly if you wanted. I probably wouldn't do it any more than monthly. You want to have some time, a period that you can really look back and see how things are. That's why I think quarterly is best. You're always keeping track of where you're at all the time, but then you want to get into the quarterly. Let's go back. Let's see how the different strategies worked. How did I do on my milestone and that type of thing? And of course, you always want to do a monthly review just to see how you did for the month, what was working, what wasn't. And a very key component of this is going to be, what are the market conditions? You need to watch them because let's say we start the year here around 15 on the VIX, not too far from all-time highs, kind of a bullish market. That doesn't mean that can't change in a week or two. And a lot of times in January, we could see a change. We could see the market really go down hard. We could see it start to drift up even more and volatility get even lower. Maybe we'll be down in the 12s on the VIX. So whatever plan you start out with here in January, if market conditions change, then you need to be ready to change with them. Now, I've often said, hey, let's say it's 12 on the VIX. Well, I'm probably going to be doing calendars most all of the time. That's a great trade in a low VIX. But if it's no longer 12, well, wait a minute. Now the VIX is 16. Well, calendars aren't quite as effective in that range. What can I do differently? So you need to be watching for that. Don't just say, hey, I'm going to trade calendars or flies all year long, because market conditions might not be right for that. So you have to be willing to adapt, have different tools in your toolbox. Of course, education is important, very important here, because you need to have more tools in your toolbox. What can I do? Calendars, diagonals, double calendars, flies, double flies. You need to have all these tools, other combinations of those particular option strategies. So have many tools in your toolbox and be ready to use them and monitor the market for which one of those would work best to give you the best chances. And don't be afraid, a last point, to make changes. Sometimes people go, oh, okay, I don't know if I want to get off course here just yet. Well, you need to at a certain point. Now, I've often said this is one thing, one of my pet peeves kind of with people sometimes is if something's working, I think you should keep doing it. But a lot of times folks want to do something different. Go, hey, Mark, these calendars have been working good here 3 months straight. I'm doing really well. What else can we do? Well, let's step back and ask yourself that question. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do it? What is it you want to do? Is there something wrong with a trade that keeps working for you? Is there a reason why you want to switch it up? Hey, I kept winning here. What could I do differently to maybe lose? I know that's a funny point, but it is true. But if things aren't working, you also need to be ready to change those. And the way I look at that is I've used calendars a lot as an example, but let's do it. Let's say you're doing calendar options here. They work for January, and then we get into February, they're working, but then you have a couple bad weeks in February. Maybe volatility's up around 17, 18. Calendars aren't working so well. Well, after about, I'd say a couple of bad trades that didn't work for you, particularly if they were really bad trades, let's look at what we need to do differently. Do I need to do a different strategy? Do I need to perhaps change my management plan? How do I adjust things? Maybe I need to learn to adjust and need some education on that. So that is all part of being a good trader, is keeping track of things, monitoring market changes, doing what's right. If it is working, there's nothing wrong with still doing it, right? If the VIX was 16 or whatever, and you did double long diagonals and it just worked and worked and worked 80, 90% of the time, well, then just keep doing it. But nothing's really going to be like that in my experience. You're always going to have different conditions where a different strategy would do a little bit better for you. So be ready to make that change. Always educate yourself so you know how to manage the different conditions and the different strategies. So I hope you found this helpful for you, having a plan. And as always, if you ever want help with this, I do one-on-one mentoring where I'll walk through this based on your trading lifestyle. Whatever it is, you're in front of the screen all day. You're not. You need to make X. You need to make Y. You're taking money out now. You're saving for the future. Whatever that is, I can help you with that. Just email me. My email address is there in the description, theoptionsmentorspx@gmail.com. But email me anytime. I can talk to you about one-on-one mentoring, which, by the way, is an hourly rate, and it's 25% off if you purchase hours between now and midnight this Tuesday through the end of the year. You can get a discount there, and then you can use those hours anytime this coming year. Of course, all of my courses are on sale over there also at arimer.com, as well as my trade alert service you can get signed up for, that type of thing, all right there in the description. All right, so now let's go on to a trade and talk about this week. So this week is going to be a strange one, no doubt about it, as we head into the new year. You got, we're off on Wednesday, right? It's New Year's Day. Things are going to be a little quirky. End of the year, of course. Big funds are going to want to write their books for the end of the year, end of the quarter. And of course, you have tax loss selling or maybe locking in gains. All these things will happen over the next couple of days as people have to have those done by the end of the year. And then sometimes, when the new year begins, Thursday, Friday, people just getting their toe back in. Probably see more normal trading resume the following week. But that doesn't mean there isn't things we can't do this week. We can do something here. So let's look at one. I'm going to share my screen here, and you'll be looking at my Schwab Thinkorswim desktop here and analyze page. And a trade I think is worth considering this week and learning about. Hey, trade it on paper. If you've never done it, you really needed to be doing that. Don't put these trades on if you don't have the knowledge base and if they're not right for you. But this is a butterfly trade. Now, I put this on for January 17th. Now, a lot of times I like to be in a trade that's a butterfly 3 weeks or more out. This is 19, going to be 18 tomorrow. I think that's okay in this instance. So that's how I got that. The reason is if you do things too close, look what happens if I say move this trade in even to the 10th. What am I down if we go up here if I do the 17th, $150 at my upper break even up here? But if I moved it in even to the 10th, now I'm down $225, about 50% more roughly, right? So that's why I like to be out further. And of course, you could immediately say, Mark, well, that begs the question, why don't you go out even further? I don't have a problem with that. If you want to go out 60 days, I'm perfectly happy with that. The thing to be aware of, when you're closer in time, the trades are a little more dangerous if they go against you, but you do get faster time decay. If you go out further, they'll be a little safer for you, a little easier to repair if you need to, and sometimes can even give you a little more room. But they also have a little slower time decay. So if you look at this one, though, even with this being 19 days out, if you had it on, and we'd be looking maybe to make about $170, $180, if we just go forward on the clock here to Friday, you're almost there already. You could almost be there by, maybe $140 or so just by Friday. And if volatility helped you a little, maybe even sooner. So that, of course, there's a lot goes into that volatility working for you, against you, not doing anything at all. And of course, we need to stay inside the graph. I'm not meaning for it to say, hey, put this on and Friday, look at that, you'll be making this. Hey, we could have a big price movement and that would change things. You might have to adjust things. So let's keep track of all those type of things that could happen to us. And but this week, I kind of like this idea of doing a fly, maybe get a little bit of short Vega here. You may have the market, maybe the market will, drop in a little bit of vol here at the end of the year. They might want to put a happy face on things. A lot of times, of course, Santa Claus rally can last into the new year, although we've had some struggles lately. It hasn't been all rally here, has it, in the last week? So we'll have to see if Santa can keep it going up or not, and be prepared to do whatever we need to do. Now, as always, if we get into tomorrow, this is Sunday, of course, and if we get into tomorrow, Monday, and things have changed, maybe overnight tonight, maybe the volatility goes to 25 or something, this would change really what I would be doing. And or maybe if something really got good tomorrow during the day and we ran this VIX down a lot lower, down into the mid to low 13s or lower, then I might do something different, like a calendar or even a diagonal perhaps. So just keep that in mind. This is a fly trade based on where we're at now. Roughly, you could probably do the 14 to 20 on the VIX comfortably. You can do them all the way up to 25. But I think it's an interesting idea for this coming week. And it does, this coming week by Friday, I believe the market maker expected move is like $80, which is kind of a general idea based on volatility, maybe some pricing pressure as to where the market would move on a larger end, but it can certainly move more or less. But you'd have most of that covered in this trade, wouldn't even need to adjust anything. In fact, on the downside, if you get this particular setup, you could just, instead of fixing it on the bottom, you could just take it off at a small gain, because you're starting out with short deltas, probably be up a little bit. Otherwise, I'd be looking to try to get 8 or 10% of what I had in the trade. So if you put it on here for 1780, maybe try to get 160, 170, $180, somewhere around there, and profit, and then just exit the trade there whenever you get there. And you could always set those orders up, of course, beforehand. If I pay 1780 and I want to make $1.70, well, then I could just set my order up there. It was $1.10, would make it 19. And then we'd go up to, if I want to make 70, another 60 cents, up to about, you could even go up to, what is that, 1980, 1970, just put your order in there. and then you could take it off whenever whenever it hits that particular point, you're in good shape. I think I did that math wrong, but you get the point. What's 10% of $1,800? $1.80. Add $1.80 to that. Looks like we have, yeah, about 1960 or so would be your profit goal. So you could do that, put that order in, good till cancel. When it hits, it hits. You can always adjust it around to take less or whatever you need to do. So that's my idea. Not only as I went over that trading plan with you for the year, just a kind of a thumbnail sketch, I also showed you something for this week. And I'll be back next Sunday, of course, with a trade, and we'll see how the new year treated us the first couple days and what we want to do going forward. Don't forget to check out all the links in my description of this video. I do appreciate you coming over here to my YouTube channel, hitting the like, hitting the subscribe, getting a lot of comments. It's really great. So put your comments in there if you have questions. Don't be afraid to email me if you have questions. Email there in the description. And I would love to have you over at arimer.com for my Trade Alert service, Opening Bell Traders Lounge. By the way, you can bundle Trade Alert, Opening Bell Traders Lounge all together over there. And I'm not raising that price this coming year. It's going to be the same. We've had a successful year with the Trade Alert service, but I'm keeping the price level for you in that particular service. So check it out. And I will be back with you next week. I want everybody to have a great remaining holiday period. Good luck with all your trades this week. Bye-bye.